So right now we are on our way to Reaper's Revenge for our media night. We kind of wanted to touch base with everybody. We've been super busy, and we both actually also got very sick, which kind of held us back, unfortunately. So we wanted to kind of touch base. We still have some reviews that we have to release. We have our review from Pennhurst Asylum from last Saturday. We have our review for Legends of the Fog from last night, and a little review from Laurel's House of Horrors, which we can go into depth in a little bit as to why it's like kind of a little review. And then tonight we're doing Reapers, and tomorrow we're going to do Bates. So by the end of this weekend, we're going to have a lot of reviews that we have to do on top of a bunch of giveaways and other features that we'll be putting on our website. So with that being said, I wanted to touch base with everybody right now and kind of do a little conversation about our experiences at the haunts that we visited, so we can kind of discuss it and you guys can hear a little bit about each of the haunts before we release our reviews, because like I said, we're going to have a lot that we need to do. I am the only person who does the reviews, so on top of working my full-time job, it is very difficult to get everything out like immediately once we do it. So I'm going to talk about it now, and then the reviews will be all out by the week, and we'll be ready to do the rest of our haunts on the weekend. So with that being said, I'm going to, along with Matt, talk to you first about Pennhurst Asylum. So hold on one second. So we visited Pennhurst Asylum on their opening night, which was last Saturday, the 21st of September. We did the VIP pass, and with the VIP pass, you get all 4 attractions included, and their 4 attractions are Pennhurst Asylum, the Morgue, Containment, and the Mayflower After Dark, which is basically like their ghost hunt. So that's what we did. I'm trying to remember, what time did we arrive there? Like 8?
I was thinking 8.
Yeah, around 8 o'clock we arrived. It wasn't terribly crazy at the ticket booth, so we were able to get in pretty quickly. We kind of took some pictures and walked around to get a bearing of the area. It was considerably busy for opening night, actually. We were really surprised with the crowd that they had, which is awesome for them, for sure. We took note of their little area where they have, food and merchandise on for sale. Unfortunately, we wanted to just get right to the attraction, so we didn't go look at that stuff too much in depth when we first got there. We kind of went there towards the end of the evening. Once we finished all the attractions, we're on our way out. So everybody was kind of packing up at that point, so it wasn't, we didn't get a real feel for what that area is like. But they did have good food options. We took pictures of everything for you guys. It's just we didn't get to see like how poppin' it was, I guess, while it was going on. So we went over to Pennhurst Asylum first. That was their first attraction. It is a beautiful building in itself. Because we had VIP, there were like no people in the VIP lane. General admission had a very, very long line. VIP, we were literally, right? Weren't we the only people in the VIP line that night? For Pennhurst?
There's maybe one other group of people, because remember we were watching the guy who was
no, not that.
Swallowing? Not
that. Pennhurst, the very first attraction that we went to. Because remember, that was on the line for the Morgue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, the line for Pennhurst, which is the very first attraction that we went to, we were online for like a second, basically. It was very quick, and they sent us right through. basically what we did is we walked around. They have people directing you. So we went into the line for VIP, and we were waiting there for them to tell us to go. So then we started walking towards the asylum, and we kind of stopped to take some videos because there were actors doing skits outside of the attraction, and one of them was pretty cool. It was a patient who was sitting on the floor and just kind of acting maniacal, basically, right? And I think she had a pencil, right? Was it a pencil? Because you were the one who interacted with her. I took a video of it. I think she was like asking you to hold her pencil, or I can't remember. We will be posting the video for you guys. Oh, it was a shoe. Okay. Yeah. So she asked Matt to tie her shoe, and he did. She was asking a bunch of people, and they wouldn't do it. But then Matt was like, "Oh, I'll help you out." So he got on the floor and tied the patient's shoe for her, and we got it all on video. And then the evil doctor was also walking around talking to us a little bit. So there was good actors in the crowd, which was pretty cool. So after we took our video, we headed towards the building, and we were waiting to get online to go inside the attraction. So what they do is they break it up into groups. They'll put the VIPs in with a bunch of general admission, and then they will send them through into the haunt. And basically they have a nurse that comes out, gives you a little briefing on the attraction, tells you rules also, and then she leads you into the attraction. And we were waiting just for the group in front of us to go through, and then she gave us all the rules and led us into the first attraction. So when you first go in, you go into a it's almost like a briefing room where they again kind of like give you rules, but these are not like real rules. These are like, oh, don't touch the patients, they're maniacal, they're gonna get you. Like, it's basically a skit that tells you about what you're about to experience. And it was fun. The actors were amazing. From there, we went into the attraction. They changed a lot, first of all, in the asylum in general. There was a lot of new additions. We were at Pennhurst last year, and we noticed, not that there was anything wrong, because Pennhurst is always absolutely amazing, but in the asylum section, whenever we went last year, for some reason, it seemed kind of, not empty, but the the haunts weren't as fluffed up as they were in previous years. It seemed like there was more, like they were utilizing the atmosphere of the building more than they were actually using like sets and stuff. That was last year. This year, completely different. When I tell you, the sets were beautiful, the actors were amazing, and again, this was opening night, and we were blown away with how amazing they were. There were literally zero complaints. There was nothing negative to say overall about any of the attractions from that night. It was amazing. I'm trying to think about some really cool things that we experienced in the asylum attraction. The actors were amazing. They were very, very interactive. At Pennhurst, they can touch you. So there's no waiver that you sign. It's just kind of a given that if you're going to Pennhurst Asylum, you understand that you will be touched. They're not too aggressive. Some of them can be, but it's just kind of like a given fact that if you're going to this attraction, you will be touched. So with that being said, we were grabbed, we were poked at. It's an asylum, so a lot of the patients were in character very well. It was just like a lot of mental health patients, but like neglected, criminally insane type. And it was a lot of fun. The sets were so good. I'm trying to think of anything in particular, babe. What do you think? Like, what stood out to you in that section?
Let's see. There was the one part where you walk. I don't know how many spoilers I want to give away, but
Don't give away too many, but you can give some.
Where it's like a bedding area.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bedding area. There's a bathroom area as well. Those two are usually really good areas. But like you said, it was a completely different feel for that whole first one, because last year it was more of, I think it was like the inmates have taken over, and it was more of like a chaotic thing. But like you said, more just on the fact that you're in an asylum, which they have the surroundings for it, so why not use that?
Yeah, they were definitely utilizing their surroundings more than they were using like scenic sets and props and animatronics. But this year they added so much. Like, they really put a lot of time and effort into their sets and their props, and the actors were on point. It was a different experience. And like I said, last year it wasn't bad at all, but it was different. It was better this year though. But again, like I said, it wasn't bad last year.
My third year at Pennhurst. Last year's my second year. I went my first year way back. And all the times I've gone, it's always been solid, every single one of them. And then, like you said, it's one where they're interacting with you. They're not just screaming at you as you walk through in a like a
boo, like
or just making a loud noise while you're just being crammed through. Like, you have a little bit of a better pace to get through. You're not just shuffling through.
Yep.
And it's just all around a very, when you go there, you're gonna enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah, they give you a really, really solid experience. What else would you say about the first attraction? They had really cool sets. Really, really cool sets. Very good animatronics.
When we were waiting to go in, it was at the bottom of the stairs there, and then you have they had the torches on either side.
Yep, beautiful.
And they had music playing that you could hear throughout pretty much throughout the entire park, and that definitely helps if anyone decides not to do the fast pass and they're waiting in line. It's between that and then the actor and entertainer involvement, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, as I said, the asylum was amazing, hands down. It's crazy because all of the attractions that night were so good. It was so hard to pick what our favorite was. Me personally, I don't know. It's a very close tie between the Morgue and the Asylum. The Asylum was so good, but the Morgue was just as amazing, and Containment was amazing as well. Like I said, it was so hard to pick, but I think out of the three, sorry guys, I think out of the three that my favorite was the Asylum. They just did such a good job. The actors in there were on point. Nobody broke character. They were very true to the scenes that they were in, and the sets were so beautifully done, so haunting. The music was phenomenal. All the cute.
This year, that's tough because there wasn't a weak one to be like, okay, well, wasn't this? Because they were all three solid attractions. Sometimes there's always places that you can go to where there's a few solid ones, and then one that kind of is just in there to fatten up their number of how many attractions they have. Or something that's not developed or not as developed as other ones. But I'd have to say probably the Asylum was my favorite this year, and also last year too. The Asylum was my favorite. They just did a really good job especially with the sets and like I said, a couple specific rooms that are usually good, and they were great again this year. Yeah, Asylum for me.
Okay, so across the board, the Asylum definitely was our favorite attraction this year. moving on to the next one, the Morgue. The Morgue was really, really well done. It was, again, like I said, it was so hard to, like, pick what our favorites were because of how well done all the attractions were. Again, there were... I don't normally get scared in attractions, let's just put it that way. I was caught off guard a lot. It's usually the sound effects that get me, like loud, abrupt noises or just, like, things popping out when you're not expecting it. So the jump scares get me just because I don't like loud noises. I don't like being caught off guard. And I was truly creeped out in a lot of areas in this haunt. Everything was very, very unique. Everything that I saw there, I had never seen at any other attractions before. A lot of unique props. The sets were insane to the point where it didn't look like they built these sets. It looked like it was a real abandoned area that's not like an asylum. Like, it didn't look like they built these sets and put them inside of their location. It looked like some really creepy, like, desolate morgue, you know? Like, it was amazing and just over the top, well-constructed sets. All the animatronics were amazing, unique. Special effects were on point. The actors, very engaging. Like I said, they were all on point, not missing their cues. If there were not actors in rooms, the sets were so good that, again, they could carry themselves on their own without any actors. It was just, everything was very well timed. It was very well done. What are some key points that you would say about the Morgue section?
About the Morgue, the entertainment, the queue line, if that
Oh,
counts
yeah,
for
I didn't even talk about that.
That we'll be getting to soon. Also, I guess you'd call it like the I can't remember what his character was. I think he was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who was at the front, the person who's at the end of the queue line.
Mm-hmm.
Who, you know, instead of just telling you the rules and just saying, oh, it's standard rules like anything else, you know, no flash photography, no smoking, no vaping, no, you know, crazy stuff. You know, they can touch you, but you can't, you know, touch them. It's standard fare, you know, rules and regulations to go over, and it's always good to you know, try and jazz it up. But he also would have some interaction with us. The guy that was working there the night that we went, just like last year, I think it was also in front of the Morgue where we had.
Oh, that's Containment you're talking about.
Oh, that was Containment. Okay.
The Morgue is on the opposite side, so where the asylum is, Containment
yes.
is like underneath. Remember? That's on the right-hand side.
That was where the guy was.
Yes.
That was where the guy was. That's what I'm talking about.
And Containment.
No, that's Morgue.
Okay. Anyway, I think I'm getting everything jumbled up. But anyway, either way, go ahead. What else did you like about it?
Oh,
like the actual attraction itself.
The actual attraction itself. I liked the actual the one Morgue room where it had the feet sticking out of the thing. Those are always cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And the ice makeup or
oh yeah, that was awesome.
Ice decorations, but yeah, that probably is the best.
Okay, so Matt had mentioned in the queue line they had some really, really great entertainment. There was a gentleman named Josh from Sick Art Sideshow who we had seen last year while we were waiting in line, and he does an amazing job. Last year he did this trick with a glow stick where he kind of like put it down his nose and it completely disappears. It goes all the way down his throat, and he opens up his mouth and kind of shows you, and then he pulls it out and then like licks it, which is absolutely disgusting, but it obviously shocks the crowd. What else did he do last year? He did a lot of really cool like tricks, but this year we actually got a very long video. It's about 40 minutes long. We did a little interview with him. We asked him a bunch of questions. That was actually live on our Facebook while we were at Pennhurst. So that will actually be going up on our YouTube, which will be the video will then be put in our full review on our website. So you guys can refer back to that. But he did an amazing job. He entertains the crowd all night long. I believe he's there every night that they operate. Definitely check them out on Facebook. I know that they are available for all different kinds of events, so if you're interested in ever having like a sideshow, freak show kind of act at one of your events, you can contact them and they will help you out with that. So then the last attraction that we went to was Containment. That's the last haunted house attraction that they have. So that is the one where they basically, it's the other one that they call the tunnels. It's when you go underneath everything and go into these like tunnels underground, and that haunt is very well done. They changed it up a lot this year from last year. Again, like I said, it is so hard to I mean, there's nothing negative that I can say about this haunt. It was very well done. Try to think of anything specific that stood out to me in that attraction. There is a lot of creepy, like, because it is underground, they have a lot of cool sets that make you feel like you are underground in tunnels. A lot of decomposing bodies that had just been like sitting there decaying for years. There are sections in there where you're walking through a lot of fog. So for me, if I were to say anything negative, and like I said, I really don't have anything negative to say, Matt and I were sick. I am getting over bronchitis, and that was the week that I was very, very sick. So when we went into that haunt, there is an extreme, and I mean like extreme, amount of fog that they use.
Just in one part of it.
Yeah, in one part. It's towards the end. It's probably the last like 5 minutes of the walk. But very, very dense fog. It's for me, it was hard to breathe just because I had bronchitis. So if you have any kind of asthma or anything like that, I would just be aware that, bring an inhaler or something like that, because it got very condensed down there, to the point that when we actually exited the haunt, you could see the smoke in thick clouds like rising from the haunt in very like mass quantities. So I mean, it was cool. It added an awesome effect because you literally could not see anything down there. It was just thick smog, but it made it hard for me to breathe because I had bronchitis. That's the only negative thing I would say. Since this is Matt's favorite haunt, I'm going to let you tell. I'll let him tell you what he liked about it.
Well, as far as what I liked best about it, I did like the fog stuff because you can't
Exactly.
see where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see much more than maybe a foot in front of your face.
Yeah.
And those always feel more natural to me than the ones where comparing that to, let's say, it's just dark. I like those two. Or the ones where they have those like squish things.
Yeah.
That was not, I don't believe there's any of that in Containment, but just using that as a comparison of other times in which they change your surroundings where you can't see, and then you're open to an actor coming up from directly in front of you versus having to hide behind something and still getting a decent scare. So that was a good one for me. The actual one tunnel part themselves, where the actor is telling you to go through the tunnel. I won't spoil that one too much as to why he's telling you or anything else, but that part is always good every time I've gone through it. And then there's also a maze-like section.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I
that one's
really,
cool.
really like. If a maze is done well, then that's always thumbs up for me. Because just kind of like along the same lines of the fog or dark areas, it's in a way it's more disorienting, which in my opinion helps put I don't know where I am and I'm surrounded by these monsters or demons or infected patients or zombies or whatever they're putting at you in that specific spot. And I've always liked that one. But that, and then also I did think that was pretty cool, seeing all the fog coming up at the end. Probably, like you said, if without bronchitis or anything like that, then that would have been really cool, because I know you're always a big fan of fogs and yeah.
All right, so we really liked all the attractions. They were so well done. It was so hard, like I said, to really pinpoint anything negative or just overall A+ attraction. Everybody was on point, nothing bad to say. So those were the 3 attractions that are spooky in the sense of fake haunted stuff going on. Then the bonus attraction when you do VIP is the Mayflower After Dark, and that is their location that is the most active with ghost activity. It is a building that is basically open for people to come through when you have the ticket to do it. It has a lot of history on the real Pennhurst Asylum. It has a lot of literature laid out for you, so you can kind of read about Pennhurst Asylum and what it used to be back in the day, and all of the steps that it went through over the years before it closed down. And it was really cool. That in general was awesome. Basically, you don't have a tour guide or anything. You kind of go through at your leisure, and you're able to take as many pictures as you want. Matt took a lot of pictures, so we will be including that in our review. I took a lot of pictures of the literature as well, because that stuff was fascinating. I personally read a lot about it. The history of Pennhurst really, really interested me. I didn't know too much about it, so we can include all of that information in the review for you guys to take a look at. We didn't see any ghosts. It was hard to tell in some of the pictures that Matt took if it was dust or like an orb or something, but we didn't. Honestly, for me, I felt kind of uneasy in certain sections, but I didn't outright see anything or feel anything other than just an uneasy kind of feeling, because after everything that I read, it's sad to think that there were kids that were sent there who had mental health issues or physical deformations that their families just didn't want to deal with them. And back in the day, that was stuff that was frowned upon, and people thought that if their kids had defects, that that was something that reflected upon them, and that's just kind of something nobody wanted to deal with. So these kids were sent away and forgotten about and neglected. And just me personally being an empath, that I feel those emotions, and even though the people are no longer there, I can kind of empathize with what they went through. And it was very sad to think about the neglect and the abandonment that these poor kids had to endure. It's just really sad. And the literature that we'll be providing you guys with, we'll talk to you all about that. It's really, really interesting, but very heartbreaking also. But yeah, that's basically that. You get to look at all the rooms downstairs. You get to go upstairs. There was a lot of cool graffiti in there. A lot of murals that people had painted. But that was basically that. Like I said, we didn't see any kind of paranormal activity. Just more of an uneasy feeling from me, because I understood what the people went through that were placed there, and I can empathize with that. So that's Pennhurst in a nutshell. An amazing experience.